I think we're live, Mike.
Now we should be. Hey, everybody. So, how is everybody doing? Today is Wednesday, April 14th. And what have we always said with the Forrest Fenn Treasure Found? We said when there's breaking news, we go live and we would let everybody know. So here we are. There is, in fact, some breaking news. I'll let K-Pro tee it up. Go ahead, talk to him, K-Pro.
Yeah, sorry, everybody. The minute we go live, D-Pro is making more noise than... Okay, the dogs are barking and the chaos is happening. Yeah, so we're already going live tomorrow night on a new treasure hunt that is in Arizona. And so we didn't want this to bump into that. We know word's going to get out about this, but we wanted to get it out to everyone, including the backstory that may, if you have the game Telephone, it all gets discombobulated. So we decided we're just going to do a very quick show. But I am going to say there is some other breaking news in the community that has been this huge surprise. So can you hit that button, Mike? The breaking news button. Okay, it didn't work, but that's okay.
This button right here.
There we go. Yeah, so here's the thing. If you guys don't know, Amy Seeks is back. If you guys aren't subscribed, get over to Amy Seeks and her channel. I think she's just finishing up right now. Huge surprise. She asked AGK. They said, hey, we're not doing shows anymore on Wednesday night. She's going to come back every Wednesday night. If you guys don't know Amy Seeks and you haven't been around before, I mean, awesome, uplifting. You will be smiling coming out of there, and huge researcher. She is looking for the nook. She's going to pull all of her info out because she has all the scrapbooks, all the books, everything. That's not actually what the breaking news is. But really, we have two breaking news that Amy's back. I mean, you can't get better.
Not one, but two breaking news. So make sure you thumbs up for breaking news and super chats on in case you wanted to show support in that way. And before we start, I do want to say a very big thank you. Somebody actually sent us $20 to our PayPal account when we were live last time. And I said, what's that for? And they said, to buy you a coffee. If you look in the description right there, I said, buy us a coffee if you don't want a super chat. So thank you to that person who said that. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, so let me tee up what has happened in the last 48 hours. Today's Wednesday. Yeah, 48 hours. We did this show and there was 3 parts to the show. The part that I'm going to talk about from that show and what's transpired in the last 48 hours is this. So 48 hours ago, we did a show and part of it was I contacted Toby and said, hey, have you been contacted by Jack? Because that's what he says in his confirmation bias video. And I provided it. And if you guys remember, he came back and said no. And I came back and said, are you sure? Because he says it. And he came back and said, let me be clear. The answer is no. I said, okay. Well, here is what, thank you, William, for the super chat. Mike is going to play something obnoxious.
Thank you, William. We do appreciate it. I didn't even have the soundboard queued up, guys. I wasn't even thinking of it. All right, here we go.
Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
And that was for William's $3.99 super sticker of coffee. So thanks, William. We appreciate it. I thought it was America. We can do breaking news whenever we want. Oh, that's right. It is.
Oh, dear Lord. Okay. Thank you, guys. So we're going to stay on track. So here's something a little interesting. Here's where the backstory begins. I got a call from Toby. Well, first, let me say, I need to give a super shout out to Holly. Holly actually started going through, and I think she was kind of dozing off all the AGK videos during that time. I won't go into all of her stories. She can tell it. And she found not only when Jack, she found where Jack was on AGK, phone in, Jack from Philly. Well, that was yesterday. This morning, wow. I mean, what a find. Good job. I don't know how long it took you, Holly. Good job. She was all excited and she's like, can you believe it? It's right here. And it was really cute because I was like, there's no link. But I found what she was talking about. We're going to be showing you that tonight. But then I got a call from Toby. And Toby received an anonymous email from someone anonymous that said, no, let me correct you. Jack actually was scheduled to be on your show to talk about confirmation bias. It didn't work out, and he called in. You should check out your June 2019 video. Well, now it even gets more interesting because an anonymous email went to Toby. And so I said, Toby, are you going to break this? Because I think it's actually, I have some conclusions based on it in a positive way to Jack. And he's like, oh, no, go ahead. You guys are doing Forrest Fenn stuff. They're out of the Forrest Fenn stuff. We did have a little bit of discussion about some other things that I'll talk about in a minute. But let's just go to the source. Let's talk about the source. His name is Toby Eunice. You guys are going to hear Jack from Philly talk about confirmation bias, referencing where he says, yeah, I was supposed to be on your show and I just decided to drop my own video. Now, I'll wait until after because I said, I know another tuber he gave the general location to. Do you have your email from back then with Jack? Because you probably have the general location in your inbox. We'll wait until after the clip for that. So, Mike, if you'll do the magic of whatever you do to show the video.
So let me tee it up for everybody real quick. And this is important. Why? I think maybe when we're done, I'll ask K-Pro why. Why is this important? Why are we playing it? Why did we go live? Why can't we just let it go? But before we get to that and have that conversation, because people have emailed us that very question of why the treasure's found. Why are you guys still talking about it? I'll tee it up and say that this is from AGK on June 28th, 2019. This is from AGK's show, June 28th, 2019. And this is the day after that Jack Stuef uploaded his own video. It was called Cognitive Bias and Forrest Fenn Treasure Hunters. So June 27th, 2019, less than a year before Jack finds the treasure chest, he uploads this video about cognitive bias on June 27th. And June 28th, Toby does his show and has the call-in portion. And Jack calls in. We ready to play it right now? Okay, bro. All right, here we go, everybody. And I will put the link to this in the chat where people can listen.
Yeah, there'll be some more later that we'll talk about, but because this does have bigger implications than I think just at face value.
Oh,
Jack. Yeah. So let's
I
talk
agree
about
as well.
it. But let's hear what he has to say first.
Okay, everybody, here we go. Jack from Philly before he was the infamous Jack Stuef treasure finder of Forrest Fenn. Here we go.
We're going to go hide this coin in Hyde Park so that it's going to be made available to the folks at Fenbury. New call. Hey, you've reached Toby at A Gypsy's Kiss. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what are your thoughts on confirmation bias?
This is Jack in Philadelphia.
Hey, Jack, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Thanks.
Yeah. So I know I was supposed to originally talk to you about this, and I didn't know you were going to do the video on this. I actually went ahead and made my own video yesterday about this and other cognitive biases.
Yeah.
In Hunt. So if people want to watch it, it's called Cognitive Bias and Forrest Fenn Treasure Hunters.
So what do you think? Is there a sense of cognitive or confirmation bias?
What's that?
So do you believe that we experience, with those of us in the treasure hunt, experience cognitive or confirmation bias?
Yeah, definitely. I think anytime that you have a situation where there's not a lot of opportunity for confirmation, like you say, there kind of aren't guardrails anywhere. It's easy to lean on those biases that all of our brains have. I think, especially with confirmation bias, people don't have an appreciation for coincidence and just how much coincidence is around us at all times. And also our brains are kind of wired to find patterns. We kind of err on the side of finding false positives and things, kind of like an evolutionary advantage, but it kind of restricts our brain. in some way. And you see that, in this hunt, people, find a pattern and it feels real to them. And especially when you have such a strong incentive, you're told, if you find the pattern, there's $1 million treasure at the end of the line here. You're much more apt to fudge things along the way.
Mhm. So, do me a favor, send me a link to your video and I'll put it in our community blog so other people can see it.
Sure, I'll do that.
All right.
Yeah. So in terms of combating it, I think we need to have actually a higher burden of proof for, what's a coincidence and what's a real pattern.
Uh-huh.
And I think the only way to do that is to try and find intent. Intent is an intention to lead you
Uh-huh.
on this particular path. And I don't know for sure that there is evidence of that, but he says he is straightforward and there's no subterfuge, and it's a lot less complicated than people think. So I have to think that there is evidence of intent out there for us to find, and that's our way of kind of disproving the coincidence. I think anything should be considered a coincidence until proven otherwise, and that's trying to find intent.
Yeah.
Back these things up.
Yeah.
That's my piece on confirmation.
Hey, well, no, that's a pretty good piece. It sounds like it's got some research behind it. So again, email that link to me, gypsieskiss@gmail.com, and I will post it to our community blog so other people can take a look at it.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Thanks for calling in. You have a good day.
All right. You too.
All right. Phone.
Okay. Let me ask you this. I know there's a couple things we want to talk about. We did get a super chat from 3D Bronze, who I think hit it on the head. He says, dude, Jack, you were one of us. Let's talk scissors, he says, 3D Bronze. But he hit it on the head. Adam Foddy says this kills a lot of the Jack conspiracy theories, right? Jack was in the community. Jack watched the Forrest Fenn YouTube videos. Jack called into AGK a year before he found it. What, K-Pro? What's so funny?
Those were our dogs. There was not dogs in the background.
Oh,
guys.
right. Yeah.
Jack
Jack
does not
owns
have
dogs. No, those were ours.
Those are ours. Sorry.
Well, let me ask you this. So this was done. And again, I'm going to put the link to that video in the chat. You guys can go watch it yourselves. This was on June 28th, 2019. At that time, had Jack already figured out the slip ups that he said Forrest made in the interview to give him the location?
Yes. Oh, well, from my interpretation of what he has said, he figured that out in 2018. So he's just refining at this point. So he believes he knows the location because he went to another location and went back. By early 2019, he had the spot. So it's interesting to me. I will tell you one thing. The tuber that we talked about on Monday that has the general location in their inbox was not Toby. So that means he was talking to two different tubers at least. Now, in my opinion, he already had the location. He was frustrated, like he has said. He was trying, I think, to network to figure out, what am I missing? Who does he have around him? He's in Philly. He's in med school. They're probably just talking about med school stuff, the people that are around him. He was reaching out to tubers. So anyone that says tubers didn't do something positive for this chase, this is somebody that, now here's the interesting part. So wait, there's more. So I said, Toby, we need to then know that he was going to be on your channel. And he said it in this, and he said it in his other video. He said it on this phone call. I know the other tuber was given the general location. Can you please go check your emails for the communication with Jack? I think he had it in his inbox. And you know what he said?
I'm ready for either breaking news or the sad horn. Which one?
Sad horn. He only saved his
Oh.
emails every 30 days, and he just deleted them and deletes from deleted every 30
Oh,
days.
so AGK does not have the email from Jack. Ah. Oh, yeah, that is a sad horn. But
Oh
first
my
off, we got to
gosh.
say a big thank you to Toby and Shelly for allowing us to play that. We did get their permission. We reached out to Toby, said, "Hey, Jack called you," and he's like, "What?" And we said, "Hey, can we go live? Put it out to the community," like K Pro said earlier. So thank you to Toby and Shelly for that, because they could have wanted to do this themselves. But as you can tell from the name of their channel, they've changed. It is now Messages and Methods. They've kind of moved on from the Forrest Fenn hunt. Messages and Methods on YouTube. Go subscribe, and go check out Toby and Shelly and what they're doing nowadays. But that brings me into moving on, K Pro. I know there's other things you want to go over, but why haven't me and you moved on? Why are we still doing Forrest Fenn Treasure Found? Why is this email? Why is this phone call from Jack breaking news?
Okay, I have a couple different answers to that. Sorry, kid just
There's
walked in.
Jack's dogs once again.
There's Jack's dogs. So there's a couple things here. One, if you remember when this first broke, we actually went away for a few weeks of the shows about the Forrest Fenn hunt because we really thought it was over. I was on the phone with a reporter recently, and they asked me exactly that. Like, you guys are all crazy. The only people left seem to be just the insane ones. And even Jack has been upset. And it's like, I'm sorry that like you guys want to talk conspiracies. Why do you even care? You're either putting crazy people in your life, and if they're people you've gotten close to, I'm sorry, they're all crazy. No, Amy Seeks isn't crazy. I mean, I might be, but other people aren't. And here's why. This treasure hunt, and I've said this before, and I'm more emphasizing to Mike because I think Mike is ready to move on. I think Mike is really excited about this new Arizona hunt coming up, and tune in tomorrow. I think he's really excited about Mr. Clue and all the other ones that are out there. I'm trying to get there. This was a 10-year journey. And if you guys know me a little bit, you know that I had some really, really rough patches in my life, not only because of Forrest, but it helped me get back with my brother, and we went boots on the ground. We were kind of estranged before that, et cetera, et cetera. This hunt is not about finding the treasure box and that's it. Oh, the gold is gone out of the nook, it's done. It was a 10-year journey, 11 years now. There were people that have died. There were people that want to just know, is there a way they can solve it, or go pay homage to the spot they know about Forrest Fenn, etc. So in general, I would say Jack is an important person, just like Forrest. And I said this to Forrest, guys. Can you imagine? Forrest is like, why isn't everybody moving on? And I'm like, well, this is bigger than the treasure chest. And I said, it's even bigger than you, Forrest. I said it to Forrest. This is bigger than Forrest. This is bigger than Jack. This was a journey for some. We want that closure piece. And here's the funny part is the searcher that knows, the tuber that knows said, I got closure by knowing the general area. Didn't need the exact nook, just the general area. That I think is the reason. One of the biggest issues that I had is, was this a wonky ending? I mean, yes, Jack worked for The Onion and did spoof writing, whatever his previous, like a lot of people are saying. Was he one of us? I wanted one of us to find it. Somebody that put in the work, somebody that was really into this hunt. And it sounds like he was. The odd thing for me, and I'm not going to pontificate too much longer. The odd thing for me is I'm not sure how aware Jack is about normal people, sane people, feeling this hunt at the end has given us a bad ending. And the reason I say this, and I say this in a positive way, because I've been pretty harsh on Jack too, because I had my doubts because of how this ended. Why, when this first came out, didn't Jack either get leaked or, like, once he was outed, why didn't he put out? If you guys want to know, I was on AGK in 2018. It is odd to me. I don't think he's callous. I don't think he was when I hear him on that phone call, he sounds awkward, he sounds timid, he sounds frustrated, he sounds, and he might not be any of those. I'm just putting it in my mind. He sounds all those things. He sounds like me as a searcher. He sounds like so many of us as a searcher. Why wouldn't Jack, the first day he was outed, point to that? Do you know how much less negativity conspiracy theories. I know Jack's frustrated by it. We all were frustrated by him. And I think this is maybe everybody has their strengths and weaknesses. Jack's strength is he figured out this poem. His weakness is he's unaware of other people and what they're going to interpret by his actions. Like we can see that with his previous life in his commentary realm. I don't think he realized some of the things he was saying. And I think now he's not understanding people, sane people, appropriate people, what they need by the end of this hunt. This, I can tell you, this right here has proven to me he's a searcher. He was one of us, and I believe he earned it. I can tell you there are some people that this isn't going to be enough for, but there's a ton of people that this is going to be enough for. I have to apologize and say I was pretty harsh because I have put those conspiracy theories. I don't know one person in this hunt that felt the day that this was called off to now hasn't doubted things in a way, but there's evidence. I don't understand why Jack just wouldn't have said that a little bit. Not that we need tons of proof. That is huge proof to me. I when I was going back and forth with Holly, I said, she's like, I know it's not huge, but this is kind of cool. I'm like, to me, and maybe I'm crazy, and I am crazy, so who cares? This is huge to me. I don't know why this is the piece of evidence. It's not sitting in a room with Forrest. It's not Forrest saying it. It's not because we could. This shows this couldn't have been invented. He was a searcher in 2018. And when he got bumped from AGK, he did his own tubing. He was into this. He was a searcher. So, I mean, a very belated congrats, Jay. I know you don't need it for me, but this was huge for me. I'm just telling you, for me, this was more impactful and more breaking news than maybe to others. Because maybe all of you, once you saw the pictures of Forrest and Jack, I just thought Forrest knew he was dying. He wanted to call off the hunt. This was the way he did it. No. There was a searcher in 2018 that said exactly what he said, and we just got some independent evidence. And Toby, he was talking with Toby, and he sounds human. He sounds endearing. He sounds awkward. He sounds confused. He sounds pissed off. But he wants to get answers, but he also wants to help. How many of us have been there and done that? So anyway, I went on for a while. That's my long answer to what do you think of that answer? Why are we still here other than your wife is making you, Mike?
Nice. And that's a very good reason, isn't it, guys? No, we do want answers. The problem is we may never get those answers. That's all. It's kind of like doing videos on Bigfoot. You just may never, there may never ever be any proof. We never will find the skeleton or whatever else that is. And then the other issue is there's some proof is proof for some people, but not others. Like this AGK video proves that Jack was a searcher back in 2019. He was a searcher. He made his own YouTube video and uploaded it. Cognitive bias. So he's one of us, in other words, is the way I look at it. That's how I look at it. So in a way, I'm glad Jack found the treasure. It wasn't some random person who just watched an interview and went, oh, Forrest slipped up, I'm gonna go find it, and found it 2 weeks later. He was involved. He was looking for it like all of us were. And I think it's interesting that Jack made a video and called into AGK about cognitive bias. And I'm just going to read the definition in case anybody out there is a little confused. A cognitive bias is a strong preconceived notion of someone or something based on information we have, perceived to have, or lack. These preconceptions are mental shortcuts the human brain produces to expedite information processing, to quickly help it make sense of what it is seeing. Cognitive bias is not a good thing. In my opinion, it means you see a pattern. It's like Madison Junction is where warm waters halt. A lot of people fixate on that and they go, that has to be it. That's the only thing that makes sense, but it's not the only thing that makes sense. There's a lot of things that can make sense if you open up your mind and you're objective about it, in my opinion. But what I took away from the phone call to AGK, other than Jack's dogs right there, was that he said we overcomplicate it. The guy who found the treasure chest, like, granted, 11 months before he found it, he's even saying we have a tendency to overcomplicate things. So that is the breaking news, everybody. Jack did call AGK. There's the video. I'm going to put this link right here so everybody can see it. And I also think it's awesome that Toby talked about the Forrest Fenn Searcher coin and how they hid one. Go ahead, because I know we're not done yet, Kate.
Yeah, there's a few things that I want to say. And somebody said in chat, like, are you going to talk to you guys are killing me. Private messages I'm not reading right now. Are you going to talk to what happened last night? This actually last night, what happened to what today happened is a great example of having blind spots. So if you guys don't know, there was another channel that was talking Forrest Fenn Hunt, and I was recently invited in there because we were all coming together as one. There were some really harsh things said about me. I was called the C word. I was called some really, really harsh things. And it all stemmed from a searcher that 3 years ago I made a comment about. And the comment was, I hope that person doesn't find the treasure, because I was mad at them over something that they did. I actually don't even remember. This person called me out that was on the show and has been angry for years. I don't even remember making the comment. And I feel bad that it's been years that this person has been upset about it. And you never want to put somebody in a negative mood or like say negative. There was no there for me. This was something significant for the other person, because it's been years of upset and nasty videos and all of those things that I just go, gosh, I didn't mean that. Just like in the same light, I think Jack's going, I said I found it. Forrest said he found it. What's wrong with you people? Why aren't you guys just moving on? It's very similar. If people don't realize other people's perspectives, or I don't know, maybe somebody was really having a bad night that night and it's been years of issues, just like Jack's going, why are all of you being so negative to me? Why are you questioning me? And like Jack said to me, you must really think I'm a bad person. And he said it a little more harshly than that, but I'm like, Jack, no, I just want to get to the truth. And him saying it, he probably thought in his mind, me saying it and Forrest saying it, and that's more than enough. Why are you guys so conspiracy theorists? Well, because treasure hunters are, and we're a lot of negative and a lot, so it's really interesting to me that even I slipped up. Even I had the same issue. I didn't understand this person and how much one sentence that I made 3 years ago was impacting them in a negative way. So I want to apologize. I don't remember saying it. The harshness that I got back from it and all the cursing and yelling and all of that, I didn't know that it would have that kind of impact. So I apologize if I said it, and I believe I probably said it. There's some people that I thought, oh, I hope they don't find it. I never thought I said it about that person, but the person doesn't even matter. It's the point. I didn't realize how impactful my actions and words are onto others. Just like I think Jack doesn't realize that. Isn't it amazing how much all these things come together? Do you see that, Mike? Do you see how this chase makes you a better human being in life? Do you see it?
Hashtag get a thick skin. That's all I can say. I told you that way back before the Jamie Jordan drawing. Remember,
Okay,
if you come out and go public, you got to be ready for it.
Well, I made a comment that said, I hope this person doesn't find the treasure. This was a tuber. I was called really, really, really nasty names, and people were going into my background and my credentials, and I was thinking, wow, is that equal? Like, I got torn into pieces.
And to be clear, I did not watch the video you're talking about. I was not in there last night. I do my own thing. But as they are in no way justified. That's like, what have we always said? What's the rule? You don't call other people names. As much as you may disagree with them or dislike them, there's no reason to call people names. We're not in high school, everybody. We're grown.
And you're in the chat tonight, and I see you, and I am better because of Mike, not worse. And if you have a problem with Mike, that's where I draw the line. And I don't like that you said that. The person said it's because Christy's now with Mike, and she's just not a good person now, and she used to be. And I'm like, don't pick on my Mike, or I'll.
They like K Pro before she was with me. That's funny.
Yeah,
well, that all goes back.
Mess.
That all goes back to the come on my show and only my show, K Pro. Well, over that. And then I told you, do your own show. And yet here we are. So my master plan worked.
Shame on you. Okay, let's get back onto this.
Yeah, let's get back onto Jack's phone call.
Because there's a couple of content things I want to talk about. Here's one thing. So we do a show on Monday. By Tuesday, Toby receives an anonymous, or Tuesday or within 48 hours, Toby, gosh, these dogs, they're excited about this too. Okay.
I heard Jack has a cat. We don't know.
The anonymous email that means, in my opinion, and I already know this because Jack's watched our videos and given me feedback on it. Maybe not in a positive way. And see, we're going to be more positive now because I now positively think you were the finder. And now we just have to find your slip ups, mister. And I think we will. Okay. An anonymous email went to Toby. It's like, come on. You
This
know,
is last
Jack.
night or Tuesday?
You know,
Last night is Tuesday. Yeah, last
it was
night.
last night.
Okay.
It was last night or this morning. Toby called me this morning. Not this morning like you wake up. Me and Toby wake up a little bit later. But yeah, it was so anonymous email. Here is something else that's interesting. So from Monday's show, I have now been getting contacted by past tubers saying people are now pretending they're Jack because of Jack's 89694 da 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 da. There's two types of spoofers out there right now. We got one that transposed two of the numbers. The other one is they're putting like Jack and the same number at earthlink.com, at yahoo.com, so just be aware if you are a tuber or if you think you're corresponding with Jack, you might not be corresponding with Jack. Be aware of that if you're having secret messages that are going back and forth. So this seems, so for me, this confirms that Jack is a searcher, that he dropped the video at the time he said he did. He was not in the chat. I will tell you, I searched a month before and a month after AGK's. He wasn't in the chat. He could delete comments, but he can't delete the chat once it's locked. And he
not as Jack Stuef, anyway.
Well, no, if he changes his channel name, just like right now, if there's AGK, any of their comments come up as whatever. But yes, he could have been on a separate YouTube.
Yeah, he could have, everybody has a million Gmail addresses. I mean, is Jack that kind of person? We don't know. But.
He probably has an AOL. I heard AOL's the way to go. I don't know. But let's look for a second. And I'm so sorry. I'm going to go back to the chat. I see tons of K-Pros. I'll get there in a second. Let's go back to what we actually heard from Jack. Jack stumbled his words. He is a commentarian. I don't want to say documentary. He's a commentary political person. He's comfortable, I think, around the microphone. What was it about that call or that discussion that made it so awkward? Was there a delay? I don't think it was. Was he frustrated that, oh, I just gave you this on confirmation bias. We were supposed to have a show. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Mike?
Yeah, he seemed pretty nervous on that call, right? He kind of hesitated. He didn't ramble on, which a lot of callers do when they're talking about, he's talking about his video that he uploaded to YouTube. And he even says, I was going to come on and talk about it, but it just, whatever, it didn't work out. But isn't it weird that Toby's doing a show on cognitive bias the day after Jack uploads a video on cognitive bias? Did you talk about that earlier or no? What do we think's going on there? Is that coincidence?
Yeah.
Or is that confirmation bias? What?
Well, here's what I think happened. Let's say on an earlier show, he was supposed to get him and Jack. I think Jack may have said, I'm up in Wyoming and in this area. And so there was a schedule conflict and Toby was like, no, Rios de los Pinos. And so he just kind of brushed it off, or Jack himself, maybe he just kind of brushed off. Because, I mean, Toby had a lot of people coming to him. And so then he said, though, what a cool topic. And he needed topics. This was a Fentrospection. This was one of the new, he did Church of the Search. He did all these different ones. So I think Toby just liked the idea. I don't think there was a there. I think, though, for Jack, he probably felt a little slighted if he didn't get on, it didn't get scheduled, and then the next topic for the next show was exactly what he was going to talk about, and Toby obviously hadn't seen his video. So I think a little bit of it was, hey, I want a little credit here, because I think that's what Jack's yearning for right now. That's why I think he corresponds with searchers. I think that's why he's doing what he's doing. Let's get a couple things from the chat.
Yeah, let me make one comment.
First. You respond first.
Well, a couple of people in chat are saying, why would he call in when he already solved it? He didn't solve it back then. Let's be clear. This is a year before he actually found it. He may have thought he knew the general area, but knowing the general area is different than solving it. I don't think there was a way to verify he was right. He just thought, oh, I heard this in an interview from Forrest. I'm reading the poem, kind of fits this area, but I got to go boots on the ground and search it still. So a lot of people thought he was guarded because he didn't want to give away what he knew with Toby. I can't say if that's true or not, but I will say he hadn't solved it at that point. he didn't know without a doubt where it
Well,
was.
and how many of us have been out to your area more than once? And you're frustrated. It's like, what am I missing? What am I missing? He did that 25 days, your 24 days, because he found it on the last day. So I agree with you. I'm going to go way back. 3D Bronze says Jack gets an A+ in treasure hunting and a C- in public relations. I think being the finder is harder than we all may have considered. And I agree with that. I can only imagine, because I know a lot of what Forrest went through. I can only imagine what Jack's going through. Since I said it, you don't have to worry about outing anybody by talking about general location. Since you said, I don't know what you said, CJ, but okay. K-Pro, I also think by Jack's video topics, he was trying to help specific searchers to help themselves. This is where I agree with you, Holly. I think he was trying to give back. I think he was trying to say, what helped me get over everything was confirmation bias. In one interview with Michael Garrity, Douglas Preston, and Forrest says the cover of Too Far to Walk has intrinsic value.
Yeah, but intrinsic value to what? In other words, we infer it meant the trip means a treasure hunt, but what if it doesn't? In other words, it has intrinsic value, but related to what? I think that's the pattern or the cognitive bias. I don't know if that's the right term of treasure hunters to make everything in all three of Forrest Fenn's book. That's about the treasure hunt when really it could just be about him being a kid, his family, and a myriad of other things that are in those books.
Yep. Czar said, ask Jack if there was any specialized knowledge whatsoever. Okay, I've joked around a little bit with people. Jack and I are not on communication daily kind of thing. I do check in with him on topics that I'm going to be putting out. Sometimes he responds. Most of the time he doesn't. I won't say we're BFFs. So you guys should. I think random people can get emails. I get a lot of the emails that he gives out to other people, but not. I don't just email him and say hi. Could have asked to see screenshots of the YouTube source email, then verified it with Jack. Otherwise, it's speculation. 100% 2 trips. I did not get far enough in the conversation. I know it would have been a no and probably damaged things more. So no, the person did not volunteer it. The person did not want to be involved. The person, yes, it's all speculation at this point. At this point, when you think about an investigation, wouldn't it be great if somebody just came out and said, this is it, and Jack confirmed? The evidence does not lend itself to that level. But do we hold anything back until we have copies of emails, et cetera? No, because then 5 people in the chat would blow me up for holding things back. So we put out what we have when we have it. It's not perfect because names, if they ask not to be confirmed or whatever, we're okay with that. Not to sound cynical, but sounds like that searchers might be oversensitive. Oh, that was about my whole little pontificating about what happened last night.
Well, I
Okay,
got two things. One, Devin Abraham. What's up, Devin? Devin says, I think he's trying to provide just enough for them to back off so that he can protect himself. I think maybe in the beginning that was Jack's idea. That makes sense to me. You know what? I'm going to do the Medium article because I was forced to out myself. I know that's another conversation if he was forced or not. But I'm going to give him this email article just so people can email me, but hopefully that'll be enough for people to back off. I think it backfired. I don't think that's working the way Jack intended it. But you just might be right, Devin. I think that might be Jack is answering some questions, trying to give people something to leave them alone and to let it go. But a lot of us aren't going to let it go. The other thing that I realized is Toby has Jack's phone number from way back then. Unfortunately, Toby doesn't save any of the phone numbers. But at that time, he had Jack's phone number. Or does he still have it?
I have Jack's phone number. Why is that important?
Why would you have Jack's phone number?
Because people send me stuff.
But do you know 100%?
I have Jack's address. I have. Oh yes.
Oh well, that's great. Well, that's okay. I mean, and again, even if we had Jack's phone number, we're not going to call him because he's not going to want to talk to us.
Exactly. He has specifically said not to. The only way that I will communicate with Jack is how Jack said to with that email.
Right.
And some people are like, why are you bothering Jack? Because Jack told us to. Jack told all of us we are allowed to email him. But do I email him a lot? No. Do I have tons of information? Yes. And I don't want it. But one, if it's illegally gotten, I don't want it. But two, I just don't want it. I don't know. It's putting more conspiracies in my head. This is actually simpler than I thought it would be. Occam's razor. Guys, shh, I'm on live right now. They've decided to park right here and chit chat. Okay, and Indy thinks this means it's the fire hole. I have no reason. Confirmation bias. Why,
Andy, I
Indy?
don't understand what that means. Why would you think that? And here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to put a link to the Hint of Riches forum. We have an area there for Forrest Fenn discussion. Listen to the video again. Listen to Jack's phone call, and let's have a discussion on the forum about what you think it means, about what you can glean from it. But Candy, I don't understand why from that phone call with Toby you think a location has been presented.
Yeah, I think this is interesting. K Silent Film 1920 says, K Pro and Cal, thank you for posting this. Jack is very intelligent. Okay. Jack is very intelligent, and those with high intellect will think well before speaking, voice their information. In my opinion, he was trying to help his with his bias info. I agree with you. I actually think he was being thoughtful in his words. He was probably a little nervous. He had just done his video. He didn't know maybe if something was kind of odd between him and Toby. He was human. This is the thing that I find the most interesting. If Jack wanted to give an interview, a live interview, and Jack, Amy Seeks is the nicest person alive. Why don't you do it with Amy? But if you did it with anybody, you could say, and you could do it with Mike too. Don't do it with me because I'm ornery and terrible. But in general, you could do it with, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Pick anyone on the earth. You could make a limitation in the interview that says, I am going to review and I am going to own the rights to anything I say, and before you put it out, how it's put out. And in my opinion, that would go a long way, because that 30-second snippet we just played shows you're human, shows you were a searcher. I think it's awesome. And I don't know, maybe that's the reason he didn't want it out though, because he did sound nervous, or he didn't sound, poised and perfect. I don't know. He was awkward because Toby didn't see too friendly. That's just Toby's way. If you know Toby well enough, he was reaching out. Yeah.
No,
Okay,
some
go
people
ahead.
are saying they came in late. Should we replay the call?
Sure, let's replay it.
All right, let me cue it
What,
up, and
30
we will
seconds?
replay it, everybody. Go ahead,
Okay.
Gabriel.
I assume Jack created a topic on what might have him stuck. Yeah, and that's the good thing too. He was as much maybe putting something out as to get information back. I know I was subscribed to him way back then, but once a week, I used to go and put Forrest Fenn in YouTube and see what came up and subscribe to the channels. Here's one. Anybody want to reach out to the flip side? Oh, I can too.
What?
Remember when he did? I can too. I just heard from Sean. Weekly updates. Remember when he used to do weekly updates? What if he
The flip
did
side,
a review of Jack's video? Wouldn't that be hilarious?
of the cognitive bias, which I've not watched. I'll be honest with everybody. To me, it's too long. If there's a video that's an hour long, it's hard for me to stay tuned and watch it. But maybe I'll check it out one of these days. Okay, let's replay the conversation. We have 300 people here now. Not everybody caught it in the beginning. So basically, back in 2019, June of 2019, Jack Stuef, the finder of Forrest Fenn's treasure, called into AGK and had a little conversation with Toby. This is the day after Jack uploaded his video on cognitive bias. Check it out. So actually,
phone lines are open. You can reach me.
We don't want to do that one. We want to do this one. Here we go. And again, thanks to Hooli for finding this and reaching out to us.
And we're going to go hide this coin in Hyde Park so that it's going to be made available to the folks at Fenbury. New call. Hey, you've reached Toby at A Gypsy's Kiss. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what are your thoughts on confirmation bias?
Hey, Toby, this is Jack in Philadelphia.
Hey, Jack, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good, thanks.
Yeah. So I know I was supposed to originally talk to you about this, and I didn't know you were going to do the video on this. I actually went ahead and made my own video yesterday about this and other cognitive biases.
Yeah.
In Hunt. So if people want to watch it, it's called Cognitive Bias and Forrest Fenn Treasure Found.
So what do you think? Is there a sense of cognitive or confirmation bias?
What's that?
So do you believe that we experience, with those of us in the treasure hunt, experience cognitive or confirmation bias?
Yeah, definitely. I think anytime that you have a situation where there's not a lot of opportunity for confirmation, like you say, there kind of aren't guardrails anywhere.
Yeah,
It's easy to lean on those
Mhm.
biases that all of our brains have. I think, especially with confirmation bias, people don't have an appreciation for coincidence and just how much coincidence is around us at all times. And also our brains are kind of wired to find patterns. We kind of err on the side of finding false positives and things, kind of like an evolutionary advantage, but it kind of restricts their brains in some way. And you see that, in this hunt, people, find a pattern and it feels real to them. And especially when you have such a strong incentive, you're told, if you find the pattern, there's $1 million treasure at the end of the line here. You're much more apt to fudge things along the way.
Mhm. So
I just got to weigh in real quick and say, if you guys look to the right of Toby's head, it says, "I'm the lead searcher." And is it just possible that the lead searcher actually is talking to Toby right now from back then?
do me a favor, send me a link to your video and I'll put it in our community blog so other people can see it.
Sure, I'll do that.
All right.
Yeah. So in terms of combating it, I think we need to have actually a higher burden of proof for what's a coincidence and what's a real pattern. And I think the only way to do that is to try and find intent. Intent is an intention to lead you on this particular path. And I don't know for sure that there is evidence of that, but he says he is straightforward and there's no subterfuge, and it's a lot less complicated than people think. So I have to think that there is evidence of intent out there for us to find, and that's our way of kind of disproving the coincidence. I think anything should be considered a coincidence until proven otherwise, and that's trying to find intent.
Yeah.
Back these things up.
Yeah.
So that's my piece on confirmation.
Hey, well, no, that's a pretty good piece. It sounds like it's got some research behind it. So again, email that link to me, gypsieskiss@gmail.com, and I will post it to our community blog so other people can take a look.
Okay. K-Pro, can you think of the two biggest probably cognitive biases / patterns that searchers have found in the thrill of the chase?
I'm not going to word this just right, but when somebody has a preconceived notion about what WWWH is, or Homer Brown, or Blaze, and then they start fitting it in, that'd be one. I can tell you the number one that Forrest told me.
Oh, let me hit the breaking news button. Go ahead. But let me hear it first, then I'll see if I should.
Yeah,
hit
I don't
it.
think it's breaking news.
Go ahead.
Because he said it in videos. He said it to me. He said it to Cynthia. People tried to find the Blaze and then back it up.
Oh, right.
Like his biggest issue is WWWH. There's something about WWWH that changes everything. So if you got to find a Blaze and you work backwards, it can't happen.
Well, okay. And I meant more specifically. Specifically, what occurs to me, the biggest two patterns that us as searchers have found are: try the wheel in the poem. We slid certain lines to form a pattern. But was that pattern just something we created in order to spell a word, or was there intent? Were we supposed to slide the lines of the poem? And I think it starts with Forrest called the word treasures bold. And with my treasures bold, so people focused on the word treasures, they used the T and it went from there. Is that just cognitive bias that we made that happen? Are we just arbitrarily sliding lines and that's just totally a coincidence?
Well, at the time, even though Forrest said there's no like pound foots, this, that, the other, we didn't know if there was an embedded message. Now, Jack has said there is not one. There's 9 spots and you're taking a journey. I don't know if I've shared that email. That was an email somebody sent to me in the last week. Like, you start your journey at WWWH and you stop at Blaze and you look down. And he said it is a journey of how to get there. We didn't know that for sure. I mean, I think Forrest was like, duh, but I don't think we had a way of knowing that. So the anagram people, because he said ciphers, but he didn't say anagrams, it came out that Forrest was telling the truth. Now, the one question that someone asked recently, I don't know if it's out on the blogs yet, but somebody just sent me maybe yesterday or day before, is it possible, or is it in Jack's opinion, that the location, when you crack it, rules out all other possibilities? Because if we go to AJ Rainville, a good riddle is something that gets you the answer but rules out all the others. So there's not more than one right answer. And Jack's answer was absolutely. Once you have this, you know you can't move. He knew his spot was right because of whatever he cracked. But then look at how many searchers have searched hundreds and hundreds of times in the same place with that same confirmation bias. So, okay, I wanted to make one comment.
And then I'll tell you the other one. Go ahead.
Oh, no, you keep going. Keep going. I'm sorry.
The other one is the GPS numbers in the poem. We see those numbers and we are biased to say these numbers lead to Yellowstone. Therefore, these numbers are valid. Here's some other ones that look like numbers, but we're going to disregard those. Isn't that cognitive bias? We are biased to say, I think it's in Yellowstone. Oh, look, here's some words that could be numbers. And when you do those in order, they happen to go there. Is that a pattern that we are making up in our brain, cognitive bias?
Yes, but
or not?
This is where you get into what's the chances that it's a coincidence, like Jack said, or what's the chance? Like, I think Justin, after we did the Nook, Operation Nook, he was like, the chance that that would be embedded in the search location in that way was like 0.0001%. So it was like 99% that it wasn't a coincidence. Well, Jack's saying there might have been a lot of coincidences then. So what do you know? What do you know is a coincidence, isn't a coincidence? I don't know.
And the anagram, Matitsi, pitchfork, realm of horn. Can that be a coincidence? I think it's possible it can. We see that pattern because we're looking for it. It's not that it's there. It's that we make it there because we're looking for it, if that makes sense.
Well, when we did our treasure hunt and somebody found something that if you looked it up, and I'm like, geez, they're nowhere near it, but it was true what they looked up, and they're like, red herring. I didn't even know what they were talking about. I had to go look it up. So Holy made a comment that said, please keep in mind Toby was by himself working all the texts and phones and chat room. That is hard. That was the night she got her first wrench. So that might have been part of the reason. Like, Toby usually is so communicative with people that call in and kind of keep things flowing. He wasn't able to do that because you could see he was clicking and he was typing and he was probably banning. Like, we're doing a lot tonight, guys. Be good in there. In West Philadelphia, born and raised in a place. Oh, thank you, 3D Bronze, for the.
Oh yeah, there was a super chat there, wasn't there? Here we go.
Hi, Mario.
All right, that was from an unknown Mario. Maybe the little girl in India was named Mario.
Okay. Some honoring comments. I'm not going to repeat. Okay. Can you see who voted for what on YouTube surveys? Wonder if Jack ever put in his 2 cents in any of yours or AGK surveys. I did not have in mine. No, I don't believe with Toby's because his said it's completely anonymous. So that's an interesting question though. Yeah. Let's see. I'm still going through chat. Do you see anything else? I'm way behind on chat. Okay. Didn't Jack say he figured out where Forrest Fenn wanted to die before doing the poem? I think he had the poem. I think that's what he said cracked it for him. Maui Bob. That's how I recall it. Let's see. Okay. I am caught up with chat. But here's the thing. We are almost a year from the find, almost 4 or 5 months from 5 months from Jack being out, and we're getting brand new information that's been there the whole time, but brand new information. And I think more more and more information is going to be coming out. We're only this week we should have the photo analysis. In 2-3 weeks we should have Dan Barbarosi's book, and I think that one's going to be huge.
I think that's about a month away, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. And I will say he apologized for the thing he said, so I take that at face value. We are good for last night. It's poof, it's gone. It's actually not, for all the years that things have gone on. I just feel that everybody has I don't take it personally. So I like the people. I don't take things personally. But yeah, that was a harsh word. Never call a woman that ever on the entire planet. That word should be removed from the English language. Anyway, is Jack in Puerto Rico? Sticky key notes. Jack says he is not. That's all I will say is Jack says he is not. Okay, so is there anything more we want to discuss tonight? We wanted to keep it relatively short. An hour has gone by. But because we do have a new ride opening in the treasure hunting amusement park.
Well, I'm glad I didn't set that link up because now we went live here. So tonight I will set up the link that'll be for tomorrow. It is a new ride in the treasure hunting amusement park. Legend has it. If you haven't heard of it, legend has it. The people who have created it will be on the show. The first treasure hunt they're doing is in Arizona, and we'll have all the details tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. And if you have not had a chance to look at our show from Monday night, I'm going to put that link in the chat. Check it out. We do believe another searcher knows the general location.
Okay. And then Kulo Kid said, why not get Jack on your site and do an interview? I didn't think of that. Of course. I think all the tubers have asked, and he's saying no. I actually think he for whatever reason, doesn't want to directly, because I actually think it's probably a legal strategy of if he puts something out in his voice, then they can hold it at a higher level of evidence. That's my guess. I think he is going to be doing interviews. He's doing them through Dan Barbarosi. And so Dan's coming out with an entire book. I hear Dan's getting ready to do interviews. He's going to do the circuit with his book. So, Packer Jack.
The package. Go ahead and tell them.
It was something. So Mike's son's birthday is today. You guys know Chris. His birthday's today, and he got something in the mail. Why I was notified, I have to tell you, every time I get something of a package notification, I cringe. It's like, it's it. And I get excited and I post on Facebook, and it ends up being
somebody sent K-Pro something from Santa Fe.
No,
even
don't.
Just a joke.
That would
just
be so
it.
mean.
But at least say it in there. Say, hey, we just wanted to send you something from Santa Fe. Address is down below, everybody. So there's a PayPal link if anybody wants to buy us a coffee. Yeah, we do appreciate everybody watching. And again, K-Pro kind of touched on it, why we make these videos, why we have a Forrest Fenn Treasure Found, because we still want some answers. And we're not going to do anything crazy to get those answers, but we are going to continue to talk and discuss. And when information comes to light, like the phone call to AGK, we're going to go live and we're going to talk about it and give you guys the information.
Yeah, and Mike says the book is out on May 18th via Amazon. And so what typically happens is they start what's called a press junket before that. So it will probably start in the next 2 weeks or so, where Dan will start giving interviews. He'll go either on Today's Show or go on, I don't know if he'll go on actually a book tour or not. I need to maybe check in and see. So yeah. So, and I actually think if we can stay in the positive, that there is an adventure waiting there. That is why I will tell you, for those of you that weren't in here earlier, I'm excited to see Amy Seeks back, because she just, you have to smile. The amount that she smiles and laughs, it's contagious. So I think she'll bring positivity, and we have had some rough times in the chase. I think we all have. I think this ending has been less than ideal. Losing Forrest, losing Peggy, losing kind of the whole community at once, I think is tough. So having her back is only a positive in my mind.
And we had
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, we just had a question. Where'd you get the frog for the April Fool's joke?
Copper Dan. I think, was it a wedding present or was it just a present? I don't remember when it was a present.
Yeah, I can't remember.
You know who made it is this guy named 3D Bronze. Oh, I have it right here so I can see. I have all my little froggies. I never took frogs before. I keep it close. So Copper Dan had 3D bronze make it from a replica from the chest. They are shenanigans. Did the person that sent you the email of where Jack was looking tell you where it was? No. And I will say, someone said, you said that Mike also knows him. Mike could check in with the person and see if they wanted any further comment video. We'd invite them on the show,
Good.
any of that. So that's up to Mike, though. I have taken it. Somebody said, why don't I squeeze in the source? I feel grateful when we get information, and I am okay with the boundaries that they set. They actually didn't set the boundary. I asked, and I didn't get a lot back. I could tell the person just wants to kind of move on. There's more, and I don't really want to say. I just want to say in general, I just respect that. If somebody says you can't use my name, you can't use it. Well, somebody else put out the name. Don't care. I'm not putting out names or information. I'm going to set the line where it is. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, no, Ken Oklahoma says, knowing that Jack watched AGK, he went somewhere else with his comment, but it just made me think that knowing that Jack watched AGK, maybe it was a Forrest Fenn interview on AGK that was the slip up, like the Moby Dickens interview. So wouldn't that be interesting to go back through that interview and try and figure out what it was that made Jack get a general vicinity? If anything, that made him think Wyoming and then drill down even deeper. How did he get a general vicinity in Wyoming just from a slip up of where Forrest Fenn wanted to die?
So there you go. There you have it. I know people are like, oh, it was you and Jack. Guys, that I'd probably go on live immediately. No, this is as much as it's slow going. Investigations typically are. And there's certain lines I'm not willing to cross. I was actually offered some information. I said, I would not be comfortable with taking that information. So anyway, now it's time for Mike to bring it home. Honey, get the general location. I'll buy you a brand new sports car if you do.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but you never know. That searcher can also reach out to me if they have something to say. They know that. So, yeah, there it is, everybody, on a Wednesday night. Make sure you subscribe because you never know when we're going to go live with the Forrest Fenn Treasure Found. Make sure you hit that bell so you're notified. Again, tomorrow we're back to the Treasure Hunting Amusement Park with a brand new ride. Next Monday, I don't know if we're going to do another Forrest Fenn panel. I don't know if we're going to do open phone lines again. I just don't know. Maybe K-Pro knows. I don't know. But we will let you guys know probably over the weekend. And then Chasing Indy texted me a couple of emails. I'll have to see what that's all about, Chasing Indy. We'll see. Now, 3D Bronze says Jack insinuated the slip up happened in an interview with a reporter in F's home. Is that right? I've never heard that.
I heard that, but I have not heard source data.
Hang on. That's 3D Bronze's breaking news. Go ahead.
Well, there was something else in Amy's chat. Indy said that Jack said that he had to get on his hands and knees to get into the Nook. I'd love to know a source on that. And 3D Bronze, can you give us a source on yours? I did hear that from somebody recently, but I don't have enough of it. So I'd love to know because we know when the last interview in his home was, which was 20.
Hashtag ooh. What's that? There's something just connected there for K-Pro.
Well, Jens got the final interview in the home, and he put out some pretty substantial hints, but those have not been shared.
Where's the documentary, Jens? Come on, where's it at?
That's going to be cutting room floor. Go give Jens a hard time. You guys give me a hard time for not putting out every single second. Man, he had the last and pretty substantial interview. There you go.
Okay, I think that's it. Yeah, that's the interview, or that's the phone call with Toby. I think Toby and Shelley have kind of moved on, so I think it's on us if we really want to dissect it. We invite everybody to listen to it again and just draw your own conclusions. That's what we have to do.
Chasing Indy saying, I said Fenn said you had to get down on your hands and knees to find the blaze. Where did you hear that, or where did you see? Nobody is recalling this. This would be a gold mine if it is. So I'd love to hear it.
Something tells me Chasing Indy is going to say Forrest Fenn told me that to me in an email. Well, yeah, kind of like dip your toe in it. You know what I mean?
But emails is all we have. I don't think Indy would make an email up. So if it wasn't an email, great, share that because I'd love to see the exact wording. Anything. So yeah.
3D Bronze has the quote. You see it? 3D Bronze says, in a decade, and I'm assuming this is from Jack, in a decade, he never made more than a couple of subtle slip ups in front of all the dogged reporters who came to his house. And even those apparently haven't been caught by anyone besides me. So a couple subtle slip ups in his house. So yeah, that's interesting. Thanks, 3D Bronze. I was not aware of that one before. Chasing Indy says Marty got that in an email from Forrest Fenn. Well, Marty got other things in emails from Forrest Fenn. I don't know how much credibility we can lend to those things. What do you think, Kipro?
That one's hard because I know he said some things that were incorrect to her. Like,
and
yeah,
that's the
I won't
problem.
go into, yeah.
Yeah.
So once it's third, yeah. So I do not doubt maybe it was said, but I would doubt now from that source.
It's hearsay. It has to be
She would.
thrown out.
Yeah.
Right. I said good
Anthony's
days.
comments be in regard to going to the Blaze and no, she just clarified. K-Pro and it. Okay, thank you, 3D Bronze. That's and that is where it came from. So that would presuppose to me it was one in his home. That narrows it down, and a public one. So it's public in his home. It has to be from
a New Mexico tourism video was in his home, even though Jack says, "No, Jack lies." I don't know if Jack lies or not.
Stop that. I don't know.
If somebody was just email Jack the correct solve, would he not lie and say that's not correct? I mean, yeah.
But going back, so we know it's a interview in Forrest's home prior to 2018-19 timeframe. That narrows it down, I think, considerably.
Oh, we may have to have Candy on the show because she says, I've seen the email, K-Pro, and I've also seen Jack say he had to get down on his knees.
Okay, if you see
that's interesting.
The Jack part, the email, I know the email probably Marty has. I'm not saying she'd make it up. I'm just saying Forrest was not always truthful with her. But I've seen Jack say that he got down on his hands and knees. Where is that? I would love to see that and how he said it. Did he have to look? It would be interesting to see the wording. So if you have the wording, that's awesome.
Here's the issue with that is if you do have to be on your hands and knees to find the Blaze, how are you ever going to find it? I mean, in other words, you go from clue to clue to clue. When you're looking for the Blaze, I mean, is it right there? It's just a thought, but I don't understand how you find it unless it be between clue 8 and clue 9, because we all know clue 9 was the Blaze. Look quickly down, right? Your quest to cease. It's how would you find it? But anyway, maybe that could be a future show, Candy, for sure.
Okay, well, Twisted says, keep it up. So there you have it. We're going to, I think, one, I don't think it's entirely that serious. If you've moved from your home, looking at your search spot and going through every day and not willing to give it up, that's too far. If we do a show once a week, maybe twice a week when we have breaking news, and you're kind of interested and you occasionally email Jack and you just can't get it out of your mind, but it's kind of fun, that's where you need to be, right along with me and Mike and all of my treasure hunting friends. But at this point, we can't get too far in because, Fenn says it in an interview that he gets down on his hands and knees to find arrowheads.
But that has nothing to do with the Blaze, though, in my opinion. Again, it's two separate things. The cover of Too Far to Walk has intrinsic value, right? But we don't know if that relates to the treasure hunt. Just my opinion, everybody. Ben Czar says, well, why would you have to look quickly down? Well, maybe the look quickly down meant get down on your hands and knees. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
But and we were discussing this on Amy's show. What if the Blaze was way high and look quickly down was actually right here or at waist level? It doesn't have to be down from your head because the Blaze could be 100 feet up.
That's true.
It's just interesting. Couple of slip-ups over multiple interviews is how I translate Jack. James, that's interesting. Couple of slip-ups over multiple interviews. Okay. And I tend to agree with you, but it hasn't been stated like that before.
And would they be the same slip-ups? In other words, if they all pertain to the same general area, is it the same slip up in multiple interviews? That would be an interesting thing for someone to, if you think you know what it is, email me, cowlazars@gmail.com. I'll take that one on from K-Pro since everybody else emails her everything else. Yeah, I don't know, Candy. I have to disagree on that one, but.
Yeah, and that's the cool part of looking at the source data, because I know what Indy's saying. That might make sense. It might be a little bit too far for me. So that's why I always ask for source data, just because somebody might pick up on something, just like 3D Bronze did about all these people that went to his house. So it was at his house, so we all interpret things and perceive things a little bit different. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. So that's and I think it sounds like to me, Amy from her first show that was just on, I think she's going to be trying to find the nook. She's going to do soil samples if they try to figure out, or if they figure out where it was. But anyway, I think she's going to be focusing on like how to solve it from that point of view. I'm taking more of the Jack route of can we get it narrowed down from some of the Jack information. And I know some other people are doing, Chasing Indy is doing the chest and investigations from that side. So there's lots of people doing this lots of ways, and I think it's all fun. So, and grab onto the ones that you like. And I wouldn't say, don't say anything negative about the ones you don't like. Like I don't like the solutions, but I don't need to say that all the time. I just pass them on to Mike and others. Okay, we've gone on long enough, sir.
Yeah, I will say this, everybody. We may not be able to find the Blaze, but you can find Las Vegas. There's a new channel out there called Chasing Vegas. So that's a new channel that me and K-Pro are doing. It is about everything Las Vegas through COVID, after COVID, how things are opening up, all the details. World Series of Fenn, I'm sure there'll be details on there this summer. I just put the link in the chat, so go subscribe. If you like me and K-Pro, you like what we're doing, go check out some of that stuff. The video I'm going to upload tonight is very interesting because it is a car that drove right into a 7-Eleven. And we have video of the aftermath. It's pretty crazy. So Chasing Vegas on YouTube, go check it out. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out tonight. That is the Forrest Fenn Treasure Found breaking news. And as always, we will go live when we have that news to share. And we'll see you tomorrow at the Treasure Hunting Amusement Park. Get there early. There might be a long line.
There's lines everywhere in Vegas. Good night, guys. Copper Dan and 3D Bronze. You guys make me laugh.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, we're out.